Hello? Nothing. Who are we, who do we have at the top of the show here? Yeah, I mean, if you've been pooping 12 pounds, I believe you. Like, that sucks. Whoa. I don't know what that was, but it was loud.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Shufflebus. I'm your host, Jesse, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Neil. Neil, how are you tonight?
Good. Excited
Good.
for some more top eight action.
Me too, man. And I feel a lot better than I did on Tuesday night. I'm still not 100%, but it's always nice to at least have your senses back. I was so out of it. I was like, I'm pretty sure through most of that stream, I just kept going, yep, you're right. Yep, Because like, I just couldn't put, like the critical thinking skills were completely shot Tuesday night. It
sucks when you're real sick to do this stuff because
it's hard.
Even though it doesn't like use a lot of physical capabilities, just like sitting up in the chair for 2 hours and using all your mental faculties.
Right, and that's it, right? And it was like trying to keep the user interface up to date and everything else. So we've got a kickoff match right away, and these guys look like they're ready to go. So we're going to jump into their game. It's Ziziros versus Phillycheaz. It's an Aradel versus Xander matchup here. Philly went undefeated in Swiss this season again. Again, this is the third time in 5 seasons that Philly has gone undefeated in Swiss. Let's see if he can push his way through into a semifinal tonight, because certainly if there's a guy that has played his heart out in Swiss and not made it to that elusive spot, it's Phil.
So was he the only undefeated?
Yes.
God. It's absolutely insanity. Like, I know that he hasn't won one, but the dude must have the highest win rate of anyone, right? Like,
oh, I think so. We can look that up. Hey, Cactus, thanks, man. Yeah, I am feeling better tonight. I'm not 100%, but I am way better than the like 20% I was at on Tuesday night. So I'm feeling pretty good. So these guys are getting their first fives sorted out right away here. You got Phil on the bottom with Aradel and Ziziros, who is, I believe, a newcomer to Shufflebus this season.
I can tell you that because I have his deck list up.
He is rookie this season.
He is a rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we see Philly here on his standard 4-book Aradel.
Right.
This version has 5 books with the Ruby Cobra / 3-Eyed Owl flex. So maybe he flexes out a Gilder in some matchups. I don't know.
So Ziziros using Xander's pre-discard to discard a Polarity Mage and draw a random 6th card. We saw this in another coverage match in the Swiss. I'm not sure how I feel about this. We saw that with a String Mage in that one. Polarity Mage is obviously a little more cost-effective, but he does immediately pull it back.
I guess. I mean, it's hard for me to know, right? Because like I spent the whole season playing Auric, where I was totally happy to spend 1 dice to draw an additional card. I'm not sure how it goes. So we'll see if this Polarity Mage is really good. If he's gonna like meditate, he obviously needs to meditate this round.
What would be the thing that he wants to hit with Polarity Mage here? Is that
so his deck has 5 2 hunting weapons of power 3 and 2 root armors.
Okay.
And I think in general, if this is your start, you just kind of like get one if you can. Okay. If that makes sense. Like the specific one doesn't matter. He just wants to draw an additional card. At least that's what this looks like to me. I haven't watched any of Ziziros' matches up to this. I think this list is cool. I don't know about the power through so much, but I do think the list is cool. So he has a Salamander book, a Ceresaurus, and a Sacred Ground as his only ready spells.
Right.
And I wonder if he's going to start the Sacred Ground.
It looks probably pretty good against Aradel's Water Blast, right? So it
doesn't save Salamander from it, and it doesn't. I guess it saves Ceresaurus from Water Blast +1.
Right. The Water Blast Gilder play into the Ceresaurus doesn't die there. So we do see Salamander Monk, just to kind of get chat caught up here with where we're at. Basically, Ziziros started the game out. I got to get our UI updated because these guys are playing real fast and loose right now. But
and I would say one thing about the like discard use Xander right away. It is a way to play around Owl. Because he essentially started five cards in a random.
Right.
And we do see the owl book in play already.
So Ziziros did bring down that Salamander Monk and then pass back to the Xander, or to the Aradel. Aradel played Gilder and passed back. And so it's come back, and then Ziziros did meditate 3 dice and lost an Anchornut, Ice Trap, and Molten Gold. Did just meditate a 4th dice here for the Earthquake, and then we're seeing Aradel just go ahead and make 3-Eyed Owl as their 3rd turn. So it's back to Ziziros on turn 4 here. This 3-Eyed Owl is going to get to eat a card. It's probably a value card.
Well, he has a random in hand. We know that he does from the discard play.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he does that every time or he put him on Owl, but he's not going to discard anything meaningful to Owl.
Right.
And it's even better if he has a Root Armor or one of his random things in hand to discard and get right back with that Polarity Mage.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting. So we do see a Sonic come down as the 4th turn for Ziziros here. Just going to put a little pressure on this Aradel. It's got a Hunting Weapons on it.
Jesus.
So this is an all-in play on this the Sonic Swordsman here with this Hunting Weapons. I guess if the Sonic does get eaten up by a Ping Fester here, you've got the Polarity Mage to get the Hunting Weapons back. So that would indicate he's got another ally in hand. Although I'm not sure what that would be at this particular...
Well,
probably Raptor Herder.
Right now he's just showing Polarity Mage plus Summon Sarasaur.
So there's Ping Fester here. We suspected that was going to be an answer from Philly. Yeah, just, 4-book Aradel tends to play an extra removal, and that 5th slot is a flex, so you kind of have to know you're walking into that Ping Fester as a whole. Obviously, Xander can recur the Sonic, and the Polarity Mage gets back the Hunting Weapon, so it's not like these are completely gone forever, but they are out of play for this turn.
He is... That did get him for... he's going to lose this first round pretty badly, I think.
Yeah, because he's going to see the Gilder Water Blast here to lose the Sarasaur.
Right. And Philly's still going to be able to play and make Bear.
Clue adding comment here that Ziziros doesn't do that every game. So Clue must have either played him in a game or watched some of his matches this season.
I mean, it is a good flex against Owl, because here's the Owl and it's going to discard, I don't know, Hunting Weapons.
Discards the Crescendo.
Interesting. I think I would have discarded Hunting Weapons.
Yeah,
since he has the Polarity Mage in hand anyway.
Since the Mage went back to hand off that Sarasaurus.
But
this is looking like a pretty good round 1 for the Aradel here, because we still got...
This is going to be an incredible blowout round for the Aradel, because he's going to make a Bear and a Cobra.
Yeah.
And this is the risk, right? This is the risk you take playing Hunting Weapons. I don't know if it was 2 streams ago or 3 streams ago, we kind of had a long talk about Hunting Weapons.
Right.
And this is the Hunting Weapons specifically is essentially the same as any of the other pump alterations in this situation, where it was kind of the best situation for it, even where you had the Polarity Mage and stuff going on, but you still just got essentially +1 carded and +2 dice by it, because he made a 4 dice unit for 2 cards and he got beat by 2 dice and 1 card.
I think if you're really hard on this Hunting Weapons as your opener over a power through, and again, I don't know what Ziziros's flex first 5s look like or anything like that. I'm not gone into the dice counts to even know if it's possible, but the thing is that you can wait on that Hunting Weapons until after you find out if your opponent has the Ping Fester, right? So if your opponent doesn't have it, then it's free and clear to make that Hunting Weapons. If they do have it, then you're really in it.
I think in his position, he did it right to save the action, because the Polarity Mage was known information.
Right.
So his opponent even knew he had a Polarity Mage. So losing the Hunting Weapons was just down a nature dice, essentially.
Right.
And that nature dice, I guess if he had not played Hunting Weapons at all this turn, he could have pinged one of these O2s.
And Ruby Cobra gets the Sacred Ground off the top of the Xander deck as well.
I don't think the Sacred Ground is very big, though.
No.
It doesn't seem very good in this matchup, because it doesn't actually save anything, because if he Sacred Grounds, the Aradel's just not going to shoot that turn. Right. So he'll wait until next turn and then shoot. which maybe gets you like an additional Sarasaurus attack, but it's not like, at the cost of an action and the dice to put into play.
We go into round 2. Xander has taken a couple points of damage out of round 1, which is not a ton. Xander's got a metric ton of life.
Well, he just exited round 1 plus like 4.5 dice, so
and he gets in for a little bit more damage. Gets in for a little bit more damage here on this Xander with the Frostback Bear and the Cobra. I mean, obviously, when you know Xander can pack an Earthquake and you've got a couple of units that are already ready to die to Earthquake, you don't want to slow play here. You kind of have to push.
Yeah, I think that's down. A good attack, And the bear, even like Earthquake is like the first thing, but even just Sarasaurus mount, like attacking with bear now is good because bear and Sarasaurus don't fight profitably for Philly.
Sure.
So you just want to get your 2 damage through, and then if he attacks with Sarasaurus now, it's not like a huge loss because it did its thing twice.
Right. And Aradel now has made up that life differential between her and Xander, right? They're much more even in life differential, but I mean Aradel's just got 4 books on board to the Xander 2 book.
Right. The life is not going to matter at all this game. It was for sure just like he was plus 3 cards drawn because he had 2 extra books, and there was a card left in Xander's hand, or were there 2 cards left in Xander's hand?
2 cards left. Yeah, I think
okay,
that was going to be
he was plus 4 cards and plus 4.5 dice. Like that's a ton of resources.
I'm sure we're going to just see an immediate follow up to this Raptor with Sarasaurus getting eaten by Gilder and Water Blast again. I mean, that would make the most sense for Philly here.
Yeah, the Xander does not have any protection things, and the only one in color is Rescue.
Sure.
But yeah, you're just running your 3 dice into his 2 dice, and he makes a guy.
Angelic Rescue would look pretty good there, right? Like it would be pretty solid in this scenario.
All it would do, I think, is like essentially Philly would Water Blast it. I guess you don't Water Blast it for you Gilder it first. I don't know what the best order is, but it just kind of like it stops you from going all in on it.
Right.
You kind of like just like if he has it, or Philly's so far ahead, he probably could just do it anyway and like bait him into it, like you better have it or you lose kind of situation.
So we do see that Raptor that was returned after the Sarasaurus was eaten by the Water Blast Gilder right back down for double hatchling here.
It's a small amount of value back from you kind of end up with like an even dice trade there.
Well, it's very likely you can overpower Philly's blockers at this point. It's obviously the Gilder with 1 damage is more of a liability, but you can probably Nature Ping clear that blocker out of the way and go. It's going to be interesting. We do see Ziziros meditate a Root Armor to bring up a frog.
Philly's got a Nature's Wrath out of the game.
Ouch. That's a big Nature's Wrath right there. Huge Nature's Wrath.
Nature's Wrath is a good card. I mean, even without the Nature's Wrath, I think he was fine. He like had a frog up. He could, if he was really worried about it, he could ping, or else he just had chump blockers. And he still has like bear and 4 cards in hand.
So through all of that, Philly's still up on dice on the round right now. Still has 3 books to activate. I mean, that's a lot of tempo and pressure still to be placed on this board.
This is kind of the downside of Sarasaurus, right? Is that Sarasaurus is more dice and time intensive than like the Frostback Bear, or like the other efficient books.
So we do see the Huntmaster as an answer to that Nature's Wrath.
Yeah, Huntmaster's good. It's at least like 2 guys,
Yep.
But he's down 1 million dice now, and to your point, like 1 million books also.
Yep, and can't play the Salamander because he's out of sympathy dice. I don't know if the spends were directed that way in particular, but we do see Philly go ahead and ping Fester the Huntmaster, so just has the second Fester in round 2. All 3 Festers are gone out of Philly's deck now, though, so that Ziziros can now sort of try to stabilize, knowing that there's no more hard removals.
He still has the 3 blood chains. which isn't like hard removal, but it's good enough at this juncture. Like the blood chains, once you get ahead on board, become super good.
Do we see Xander recur another raptor here?
So he got, what did he get back? He got back a root armor.
Root armor, yep.
Did he have nothing else? Oh, I guess he didn't have anything else. Okay.
I think he had the hunting weapons, right?
The hunting weapons.
Oh, it's in
he got it back last turn.
Yeah. You're right. So if you're Philly, you probably just, when in doubt, make a bear. You know, like you kind of can just make bear and force your opponent to do something. Otherwise, you just get in for more face damage with the bear.
Yeah, you can make Cobra too if you wanted. Like if you, I don't know,
about the same.
If you think he has an earthquake, Cobra is better. Like because the bear's a bigger threat, so you like maybe bait him into doing the earthquake into the Cobra.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. Since he has the, his cards are hunting weapons, root armor, X. Like we don't know what the last card is. So like root arms essentially does nothing. Hunting weapons could potentially be deployed on Polarity Mage. Oh my god!
Return to soil.
They're returned to soil. That's funny. I love this card.
Gets both Raptor Herders out of the discard with that return to soil.
So, God, just rumming it in there. That's awesome.
That's a big return to soil. This is a card that we don't see a lot of play, but has a lot of value, I think.
I think the card's really good. It's like, it sucks that it's essentially the same as Violinist, but worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't like leave the threat behind. But there's certain matchups, and this was a pretty good one where he purged the two herders.
Yeah, I mean it can't get much higher than that, right? Because Xander loves to recur Raptor Herder. Yep. So here's the P Mage.
For again, no value. Yeah, just 1/1.
Making a 1/1.
Okay, so his last two cards are hunting weapons and root armor. And you know that the hunting weapons is probably what he'll play because it's better than Frog Ping to like hunting weapons, this Polarity Mage, attack bear, shoot Gilder.
I'm sure we'll see. Yeah, we got a memory drain from the Three-Eyed Owl here, so one of those cards is going back. The root armor is going back.
And then it'll get Aradel guarded, and then the Aradel will activate 1,000,000 books and win.
Yeah, it looks like it's a pretty hard line to come back from on an absolutely great draw from Philly here in round 2. Drawing into that third Fester technically because he already meditated one away. So
that was definitely like the best return to soil I've ever seen on camera. I assume that it's like slightly better against like the Fallen decks, or if there's some Recollect deck, it's better against that. But this was about the best one we've ever seen. So
it'll depend on what Ziziros values more here, killing the Thread Owl with the hunting weapons or killing the Gilder with the hunting weapons. If you kill the Gilder, you'll force the Aradel guard. If he kills the Three-Eyed Owl, he'll get guarded by the Gilder.
You should kill the Gilder because the Gilder will jump in the way.
Right. But he has a choice here.
And this game isn't really going to decking, so the Owl is good, but not insane. Oh, he must have clicked wrong because they're backing it up here.
There's something I've never played hunting weapons in Ash Techie, so I don't know.
I haven't either.
I don't know what the prompt looks like, but we saw one other hunting weapons play this season where we had to go manual as well. So I think there must be something in the prompt that's a little unclear. Yeah, so he does add the damage to the Gilder here. Yep. They're adding that value in here. So that should prompt the Gilder to inherit the Frostback. We should see Aradel guard this Frostback bear, I would imagine. Can't imagine.
Yeah, with Xander on no dice, like, you want to keep this bear in play. It's almost a reason that I guess the Polarity Mage isn't going to survive.
No.
I don't think.
No, especially against
not.
No, not against the Rosefire Dancer answer. And gets the last Raptor Herder out of the deck.
Well, I think that's actually like, I mean, he would have had a chance to draw it, right? But
sure.
I think Raptor Herder being the card he milled is actually better for the Xander than a lot of cards in his deck. Because if it's in his deck, like Raptor as your top card in the pile is much better than Unknown in your pile.
Interesting, Ziziros didn't use the Panther Spirit here to attack that Violinist and just kill it. He's got the opportunity to do that with the Aradel guard down.
He still will have that opportunity, but yeah, that's definitely.
I think I would
should.
Yeah, I think you should make sure you don't have. I mean, with making a bunch of 1/1s, the last thing you want is Violinist continuing to eat cards off your deck. Even if the game isn't going to go to decking, it's only going to hurt your options as you get later into the game.
Well, just the pinger is really good, right? Like,
absolutely,
he's going to have to deal with it at some point. So it might as well be now, because this Panther Spirit needs to do something. And if he really values the decking race or whatever, I guess because the Violinist decks you too, it's about the same as Owl. Yeah, you should definitely attack Violinist.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty big misplay, but I'm sure that at this point, if you're Ziziros, you're probably spinning a little bit trying to figure out how to stabilize after this round. This has been there was
there's the attack. Yeah, that's good.
So we should see 3 more damage, unless, because you're not going to want to use Cobra and Bear to kill the Spirit. The Spirit's going to die from fleeting anyway.
Spirit's going to fleet, yeah. We're going to see Philly ahead by 6 dice going into round 3.
Yeah. Philly just showing off the power of 4-book Aradel here to its fullest extent. As we go back to top of round and Ziziros gets to start here. So what can Ziziros do? He could possibly. I mean, Earthquake doesn't look great here, but it doesn't
play Earthquake.
It'd be about your best bet, right?
Let's see. Does he have so he could play Anchorknot, make Sarasaur. That would be pretty good. I guess it runs into the Aradel thing. But like, what doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, Phil's not going to activate Gilder or Aradel onto that Sarasaur on something other than Sarasaur, unless you've got a reasonable enough threat like another Huntmaster, something of that size that could eat that gives you the opportunity then to play your Sarasaurus. It's just really hard to stick Sarasaurus against Aradel. Extremely difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's about the best that he could do. Is like play Anchorknot, make Sarasaur.
Right.
Because the Anchorknot will give him a little bit of battlefield pressure. The Sarasaur, Earthquake is good too.
He's gonna smack down an Earthquake here, clear most of the board, leaving just the Bear and a Ruby Cobra up.
If he had a Frog to go along with that, it actually would have been really good to finish that Bear off.
Because you saved yourself like 4 damage in that process. Instead, instead of taking 5, you're gonna take 3 here.
Well, just an additional 2 would be the only thing that saved him, because it just killed the Bear. The Cobra would still have 1 on it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's also possible he takes a little bit of fatigue before the end of this game, but I don't think that it's going to be fatigue that, like, I think if he had infinite deck size, Philly would still win.
Yeah.
Even without the fatigue damage.
So we're going to see a Xander activation here. He's in the tank thinking about which ally to get back. My guess is it's going to be a P-Mage. He values the P-Mage here.
I mean,
it's really interesting. I guess P-Mage is an opportunity.
Does he just not have Anchorknot in his... So he has an Anchorknot in his card. It's interesting that he doesn't choose Anchorknot. I guess he wants the hunting weapons that bad. It's the only thing I can think of is that he wants that hunting weapons because...
Yeah. So Xander going to suffer another 3 points of damage here. 2 from the Bear, 1 from the Cobra. Going to 9 life remaining on the Xander here. What's up, Christian? Welcome, man.
Christian is latte.
And you missed a crazy start to this game.
Yeah, it's been a little one-sided. I mean, and in no way am I saying that to take away from anything Ziziros has done. Because Ziziros has played his cards and not done anything I think is egregiously bad. It just the Aradel deck is just it's all value, right? Like
it looks really, really good in this match.
It is value town, right? Because the Xander deck is essentially 100% battlefield oriented, right? This is a swing deck,
right?
He has like 2 molten golds, and
one of which is in the discard.
Well, yeah, I just mean in general, the deck is not built to win that way. The deck is built to win like through battlefield pressure. But this Aradel deck, this 4-book Aradel deck is like, close to the best battlefield deck there is. So it's really hard to gain a battlefield advantage. And like we saw in round 1, I think the knight plus hunting weapon start was very risky. But if Philly doesn't start Fester there, it's very profitable. You just kind of take that gamble. But that was like the big turning point in this game was swordsman hunting weapons, and then next turn frog ping Fester. And from then on, Philly has been ahead by at least 4 dice.
Yep. So one of the things that I think was an interesting decision is you could probably, if you foresee the Gilder Water Blast play, you can start the Root Armor. It doesn't guarantee that the Fester doesn't hit you, but it does force the Water Blast to be used and protect the Sarasaur. And that may have been a line that would have been better here over the hunting weapons. Just if
you can never Root Armor Sarasaurs.
No. I'm talking about Root Armoring the Sonic Swordsman. Yeah, I mean,
you mean in round 1?
Yeah, in round 1. So Philly's just playing Call Upon the Realms, so that way he doesn't have to meditate any part of his deck here.
Yeah, he's not in any hurry, so the loss of like tempo doesn't really mean anything.
Right.
And he's got plenty of dice sinks, so he hasn't lost out on the card either.
10 power dice adding. He thinks Phil has first 5 to Fester in all of his matches. Yeah, it makes sense. The stick's really well equipped to be a Fester deck.
Because his normal set of books is 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 with Aradel. So he has 1 or 2 dice left, depending on which owl he starts. So Fester is an obvious include. I wonder if he has that would be an interesting thing to ask him is what matchups wouldn't he first 5 Fester against? I bet he doesn't first 5 Fester against me if we had played.
Sure, but no big units.
And what he would pick in its place.
Right. So Ziziros is in the tank here a little bit.
But if he's mostly playing against battlefield decks, the Fester is obviously great to first 5.
Yeah, for sure.
The last time I played Aradel was in season 2, and I played 4-book, and I was playing ceremonial only for Fester. There were no other ceremonial cards.
So it's interesting. This 4-book has foregone the standard 2 dice 2/2 summon that we usually see in 4-book archetypes for the Ruby Cobra and the 3-eyed Owl, which are both 1 dice summons.
It has Mind Fog.
Oh, it does. Okay.
He just doesn't have it in play right now.
Yeah, 10 power. We've seen him use that that Water Blast Gilder for the Sarasaurus in this match, which is essentially the same thing.
And starting it in round 1, you're totally fine trading it with Bear because you're still trading up a dice. In round 1, Bear is a knight that costs basic class power.
Right.
So you're still up a dice there, and it doesn't feel as good, obviously, just you don't kill a big giant guy, but it's essentially the same.
So we're looking at Philly having an opportunity here to probably just make Gilder into this Anchornaut.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to leave it in play. I mean, I don't think he's really scared of the Sarasaurus either, but you don't want him to recur an Anchornaut, I don't think. So you might as well just use your Gilder.
Nope, he goes ahead and just...
he just frogs it. Yeah, same thing. That just means he thinks he has an extra dice.
So 3-eyed Owl actually is going to put enough pressure potentially that Ziziros couldn't play another card from hand without taking fatigue here.
Oh no, the frog is actually way better. Because he wants to leave the Gilder as a main action ping, so you can do Water Blast Gilder on the Ceratosaurus if he decides to play Ceratosaurus.
Right.
So you don't want to use up because you could never do Frog plus Water Blast. You don't want to use up your main action version of ping.
Right.
While the Ceratosaur book is untapped.
So if you're Ziziros, do you just go ahead and make the Salamander Monk here? I mean, like, what do you do? Because you're kind of really behind the 8-ball.
You hope that you have a Swordsman in hand, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he can Xander. Well, he's already Xandered this turn, so he can't Xander now. What did he Xander earlier?
He got back Polarity Mage, didn't we? Isn't that what we talked about?
I think you're right, yeah.
He has the Huntmaster's gone. There's 3 swordsmen. Yeah, I think his only hope is stick a swordsman, which I don't think is very probable to happen. Because even right now, Philly is showing 4 damage off Gilder, Water Blast, Frog. And even if that swordsman gets an attack in, Philly doesn't care. He'll still just do those 4 damage to it and be just fine, because that's also 3 dice for the 3 dice that swordsman was paid for.
Yeah.
And he gets an O2 left over.
Right. I mean, we're already in fatigue damage land just because of second Ruby Cobra and the 3-eyed here. So unless the 3-eyed gets blown up somehow by the Xander, and Ziziros is just passing. I mean, I think that's fine. You know, Phil's not going to be done. He'll just memory drain here. I'm sure.
Right.
Send it back.
Yeah, I don't know about that pass so much. I don't know what he could do. I guess he had a main action in Salamander, but passing into the Aradel deck is not very fruitful usually, because they have so many main actions like this. Like, you're trying to get him to commit something big for you to Earthquake maybe, but like, you just make another Owl, and then what do? You pass again and he memory drains you, and then he like makes a Cobra, and then you pass again, you get attacked by Cobra. Or you Earthquake the Cobra. Like, you're not going to wait out the threat from Aradel. The Aradel's just going to like grind you out this way.
Absolutely. I mean, again, just this Ruby Cobra attacking for 1 here. I'm sure that's what we'll see next from Phil is the Cobra come into play here. That Cobra attacks for 1 and mills a card. It also is essentially net 1 in the fatigue land. So it's really the Cobra is now starting to attack for real value this turn as well, even though it doesn't look like it on the battlefield.
Even the 1 damage is important. Like, the Xander's only at 9. He's going to die pretty quick, because unless he does something crazy, he's going to take another 3 damage this turn. Right. And he's probably going to take 3 damage minimum.
So here's a Sonic.
So here's the Sonic, and
he plays
here's the Root Armor. So that's good. This Sonic will survive. So this is good. If he has the Blood Chains now, he gets him pretty good, because that will remove the Sonic for what I assume is the remainder of the game.
Right.
Off this damaged Cobra.
So.
Yep, there's the Blood Chains.
Blood Chains, double exhaust Sonic. That's brutal. All the answers for Phil here in this game.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had 4 cards in hand still, and was there a Blood Chains gone? Oh, there was 1 Blood Chains gone. So he was like 30% to have it, I guess. No, there were 2 left, so he was like 50-50 to have it.
Here's the Ruby Cobra we mentioned earlier. Just going to get a card off that deck. That last die is looking pretty sad for the Xander player right now.
Yep, and so the Xander's going to take 3 damage probably.
He'll go to 14 take another 3 from... Yeah, Phil's got it with top of round swing in round 4 here. Just building the board as it sits now.
That's what I was trying to get to, is how much damage Phil had to swing with here.
Yeah.
And this is just textbook 4 book.
Right. I will say Phil's deck is definitely a little different, just simply because we haven't seen a lot of mill in 4 book, but obviously Cobra and Owl are a version of mill that adds a little extra layer of pressure.
It gives you a way to beat like the meteor decks through the mill.
Plays a Fire Archer down here.
Yeah, that's fine. He's just going to make as many threats as he possibly can. Since he has top around him, does Xander.
So he eats the last die.
I don't know if he has anything to play here. He could make a Gilder, but I don't think it does anything.
No, it just protects himself.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You should spend the dice if you have it, but
yeah, if he had a herder here, that's going to be GG.
Nope, it's already GG, right?
Yeah, it would have ended in round 3.
And there are no herders in Philly's deck. His only allies are the 1 Fire Archer and 3 Violinists.
All right, so we see a top of round swing for lethal, and Phil has closed the game out with top of round 4 swing with the Ruby Cobra and the Frostback Bear. Very well played by both players. I do think it was a big gamble from Ziziros to open night with hunting weapons into a 4 book. It's tough to make that distinction without some sort of protection.
The 4 book had nothing to do with it. It was just like, do you do that into a deck that's playing Fester?
Sure. But it's also very easy to start Fester in 4 book Aradel. There's very few things that stretch the dice beyond the 4 books. So, all right.
And that was the story of the game. Like he's ahead here by 4.5 dice. He was ahead in round 1 by 4.5 dice, and that's essentially the cost of his night plus his hunting weapons.
So Phillycheaz is moving on to the semifinals. Is this Phil's first semifinal?
That can't be right. He has to have made semis before.
I don't know. Let's find out. Obviously, congrats to Ziziros making it all the way to top 8 as a rookie in Shufflebus. No, he's got 2 top 4s prior to this. So
yes, I thought
this is the clutch round for Phil here. He's got a tough lineup on the opposite side here between either Bill or Matt. Both of these decks, we'll talk a little bit about them, and because we're probably a little early for those guys, unless Matt and Bill are ready to go, and then we can kick that game off early as well. But
it's
Lulu and Odette,
Bparousis and MBauers.
Bill and Matt going at it. These are 2 Ashes veterans. No strangers to top 8s in Shufflebus. They're
this is the Guilt Link Lulu. This deck's cool.
Yes. So we've got to talk a little bit about both of these decks while we're waiting here, since we've got a little bit more time to lead into this here. Bill's deck he calls it Lululemon. Which day are the semi-streaming? That's a good question, Gold. I know that JK... okay, no problem, Bill. We'll hop right in here in just a second. I want to talk about your decks for just a sec. I know JK is going on vacation over the weekend, so he's got to get his match in tomorrow night. So most likely I'll stream at least that match tomorrow night, and we'll see if whether or not these guys can play tomorrow night as well. If not, then I will stream another time this weekend for that match, because we're going to try to get to the finals on Tuesday next week to wrap it all up before Thanksgiving. So Bill's deck, is the Guilt Link Lulu, the Lululemon with Salamander, Monk, Gilder, and Bear alongside the Guilt Link. I love Guilt Link so much. I love this name, Bill.
This deck is cool.
Lots of tools, and it's a general toolbox approach to Lulu, which I think is pretty sweet. So I'm excited to see how this deck plays. Bill and I have talked about this deck a little bit off stream because I was interested in it, seeing how it was performing through the Swiss, and started talking to him about things he liked about it, things he didn't like about it, things he'd want to change about it. I'll save all that for Bill to talk about at a later time when he feels comfortable with that. But it was very enlightening to talk to him about how Lulu works, and not seeing the Ember Root, which is something that a lot of people automatically gravitate towards in Lulu, is the Ember Root. So not seeing the Ember Root in Lulu and seeing success is pretty sweet. So we got Matt here. Matt's got a Aradel, or excuse me, an Odette. My bay here. I love Odette. We all know how much I love Odette, but he's playing Three-Eyed Owl, Gilder, and Frostback Bear as his books. Somewhere in here, he pivots, I guess, to a Frostbite. I don't know how and when he makes that decision, so we'll see that. I'm very interested to see how Matt plays that. 3 allies in the whole deck, so Matt is heavy on this action suite here of Blood Chains and Festers and Generosities and Molten Golds and Nature's Wrath.
Yeah,
just a ton of burn and removal here.
They are chomping at the bit here.
Are they? Okay.
If you want to jump in the game.
Yep.
I guess champing. Are they champing at the bit?
I think that's what it is. I gotta still set up their overlays, so bear with me, everybody. This is not Philly.
Yeah, the Lulu deck is really cool. This is like, we watched the Lulu deck on Tuesday that was just hyper aggressive, right?
Right.
And this deck has 2 Molten Golds. It has the Phoenix Bparousis, but doesn't have the additional burn. It does have a choke. Obviously, choke not being really a burn card, but more a control piece. So we'll see how it goes, because the issue here is that Odette is so good against these like not 4 book decks, and this Lulu has kind of put the Odette, like the Enter the Fray, on as bad as it can be, because it doesn't kill. I mean, it's still always good, but he doesn't have any of the like random 2 toughness guys that it's good against. He doesn't have any of the 2/2s for 2. He doesn't have any of the 0/2s for 1. He just has Frostback Bear, which Enter the Fray combines with stuff to kill it, and that's good, but it's not perfect. He has Gilder, which is like you already get your value out of before it gets Enter the Fray, and he has Monk that you get the other half of.
All right.
So Enter the Fray, still good, not as insane as it always is, but Odette is also good against, like, I assume that this has a night start because he's playing the one of Hammer Knight, one of Huntmaster, one of Master Vampire, even String Mage, like one of these powerful allies, and it's hard to just run it into Sword of Virtue, right?
Right.
He has 1 Golden Veil, but the Golden Veil versus Odette, that's like the mind game you play, right? Where if the Odette doesn't start Sword and you start Golden Veil, then you're like down a card.
So Matt immediately meditates up into what looks like a Fester, but you got Frostback Bear and Frostback Bear from both Matt and Bill here. So yeah, I can't just miss the first game, no problem. Congratulations to Philly for advancing on to the semifinals with his 4-book Aradel against Ziziros. It was an exciting game. Lots of wild things happened in rounds 1 and 2 that really set the tone for Phil, closing it out at the top of round 4. So there's your spoiler alert if you want to go back and watch that. So we see Bill meditate away a Raptor Herder to gain a Fester dice, Ceremonial Power dice as well.
I mean, it could be a Hammer Knight, it could be a Master Vampire.
Yeah.
I don't think he probably starts Fester. Maybe he does. It's hard because like the only thing that's good to Fester against Matt is Bear or the Singleton Hammer Knight.
Mm-hmm. And you just have to know, you have to have in your mind whether or not Matt started that, right?
Right. And we're presuming he has a Guilt Link among his cards.
Right.
So
Matt just going aggressive with the Raptor Herder Bear start here.
Yeah, I kind of thought this would be more like what he was trying to do, was just be aggressive, go kind of like bigger than the Lulu. Because like I just said, Tuesday's Lulu was really aggressive, but this Lulu is much more control-y.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Odette is going to follow a similar path to the Lulu we watched on Tuesday, where it's going to try to like go underneath, get in a big damage round 1, and then finish the game off with all the burn spells, because Matt has all the burn spells.
Right.
The full set of Molten Gold's Final Cries and Sympathy Pains.
So we do see Bill use the nature power to get rid of the hatchling. This takes a lot of power away from Matt's open here. I don't know if that was on plan for Bill, so that'll be a determining factor in whether or not he can play all 5 cards now, or whether or not this hatchling actually took him off of plan. It's hard to say for sure. Obviously, it will be up to Bill to know there. So Bill does suffer 2 damage from Matt's bear attack. Matt just getting in for the 2 here with the bear.
Right. Matt's not interested in trading, so he'll let this bear eat up some stuff. Okay, so here's the vamp, and we'll see if he is showing Golden Veil. So we'll see if we have the sword for Golden Veil trade here.
That would be a huge.
Well, it's not even like. So it's kind of like a set of gotchas, right? Where like this Hammer Knight is way better than sword if he started Golden Veil.
Right.
And it honestly might be better than sword in general in this situation. I'm not sure.
So does Master Vamp just go into the bear now? Heal 1 damage? So
it's really hard. Like,
oh, he's gonna hunt the Hammer Knight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's super sweet. Good. I'm interested in so this is something I hadn't thought about until it just happened, obviously, but that's a reason this Hammer Knight might not have been good. But they're just gonna trade. So they ended up trading.
I'm sure this will get a Lulu guard here. Yeah.
Right. It might get Enter the Frayed. Something's gonna kill this before the end of the round, I assume. Because what could he's got a Charm Dice and 2.
It's actively bad to enter fray this Master Vampire, though, right? Like, you just take 4. That feels pretty bad. I think he's got a Widows.
If you don't, then it just eats your best guy next turn.
Yeah, so I think Matt's got a Widows, but it's going to be a question of whether he wants to drop Widows into this board. He's holding like he's got Widows.
Right. So his possibles are, I guess, Gilder Book, though I think we're past that juncture.
He could have Owl Book still. I think it's an Owl Widows.
He'd have to play it right now, and he still might not get a card.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bill has given up on the Guilt Link here this round. If he did start it, I don't know.
It could be Generosity Widows.
Yeah, Generosity would look pretty good here if you could get the Enter the Fray off.
And it could be Golden Veil Widows. Like, he did start the Knight, so maybe he picked Golden. Okay, so he had the sword.
Yep.
He untaps Bear. All right.
So he chooses untap Bear over killing the Vamp. I guess you can just eat the Vamp with your Bear. That's probably better.
Or swing past. I guess he should eat the.
I think you should eat the.
Do you enter the fray and attack for 2? Like, you're essentially trading 3 for 2 there, but you kill his giant guy.
See, I think most likely you're going to see Enter the Fray on the Bear. Bill's Bear here. Yeah, I mean, Bill has a solid first 5 plan here. I love the bolster on the Vampire. I had not seen or considered that line here as a way of dealing with
the Bear kills the Vamp. Yeah, that's good.
So this is going to be Charm Dice.
He chooses to Charm Dice the Bear. Okay.
Yeah, this way he can enter the fray and only take 2 through the whole turn. Because he'll take 1 from the Enter the Fray and 1 from the Bear attack.
Well, he's going to take... now Enter the Fray is kind of bad.
I don't think it's actually bad. I mean, Matt's got Nature's Wraths galore in his deck, so putting the Bear on 1 life is not a bad place to be, even with Bill going first.
So he is doing Enter the Fray. Now we're contemplating Golden Veil, I think. We're at least in a reaction window. I don't know if he has bluffs on or if it's Golden Veil, but
yep. So he does get that. It takes 1 more point of damage.
That's fine. Does Lulu have anything to do for 1 Charm Dice? That would be cool. He could play Gilder Book. That'd probably be the best thing he could do. Oh, they both pass. All right.
So now Bill gets to go first here, top of round 2, holding a 2 damage Bear and a fresh Salamander Monk. If you're Bill, do you just
I think
just go ahead and attack with Bear?
you should spark it first.
Yeah.
If you spark it first, then the other bear has bad blocks. Well, not bad, but like
he's just gonna go at face and try to exhaust the bear.
Yeah, I think the Odette is fine with. I think you should have sparked it, unless he has. I don't know what he could have because his vamp's gone. I think sparking it would have been good.
So Matt has an opportunity here to counter swing for 2, get 2 damage on the Lulu. These guys are just trading bear blows back and forth here.
Right, and I think that favors the Odette greatly when they're just trading 2 for 2.
For sure.
Because the Odette has more life and a million burn spells.
Yeah, the wrong life on Odette. I'm sorry. She has 13 life remaining.
Yeah, that's true.
So here's another bear. This is the bear I think gets sparked personally.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, this is fine.
So now Matt will stand in front of this and block it, but does lose the other bear. Matt's out of bear for this round, and Bill.
Matt has 1 Nature's Wrath.
I thought he had 3. I'm sorry.
No,
I misquoted there.
He has 1. It'd be very good right now, obviously.
It's very possible he's holding it. Otherwise, he's just got all the frog pings in the world with playing Call Upon the Realms now to bring up a bunch of frogs. Yeah. So he can just eat these bears up through frog pings if he wants and continue to play the removal game that he likes to play. He's chosen
to shrink the monk here.
We've seen a lot of charm power in this tournament. You know,
this was not the deck I expected to see it from. He just must not have a full set of dice to play with here because he only has the 1 book in play.
Right. Matt could be out of units here. It's very possible that he didn't draw any units. I mean, we don't know that for sure.
Well, there's only 2 units he could play. Like, the only units in his deck are 1 Hammer Knight, 1 Vampire, 1 Hammer Knight, 1 Psychic Vampire, 1 Raptor Herder, and then his 3 books of Frostbite Bear, Gilder, Owl.
There is first Frostbite here. So we're starting to see that plan for direct damage come into action here. Right. Yeah, Matt is starting to lose the battlefield presence. We do see Bill meditate an Ice Trap away and a Raptor Herder away.
Yeah, we'll see.
So Bill answers with his own Hammer Knight here.
Yeah, he really needed to play something like the Huntmaster would have been the best thing probably because it leaves the guy behind. It's so hard against the deck that has 3 Sword of Virtues. He only has 1 Fester. I guess he can't have it all, right? Like,
no.
There's 2 swords left, so he's
2 swords left.
1, like it's roughly 1 in 11.
Matt uses the Frostbite, still holding the Molten Gold. I'm guessing his thought process is now he's threatening the Fester here.
Okay, Psychic gone. So all the allies in the deck are gone. I mean, he has ceremonial power if he wants.
If you're Bill, do you frog ping your own Salamander Monk, make a 1/1 and attack for 4?
No. Use attack for 3. Spending a dice and a card to do 1 damage. And spending a dice and a unit to do 1 damage is probably not where you want to be. 3 is just about as good as 4. Explosive Growth gone. Explosive Growth is an aspect of this deck that I really like.
Yeah, because the Spark puts a status token on, so it's just...
And so does Gilder. Like, he just has, 2 random explosive growth is fine just as like +2 attack as a side action, but when you have access to like the spark and the gilder to make it +3 or potentially +4, usually just +3, but it has a lot of synergy going in, and he's only playing 2 of them, so it doesn't like overload you.
I'm really surprised not to see the Guilt Link start from the Lulu.
Well, I mean, look at the board state we're looking at. Like, there's just no units in this deck, so Guilt Link is like not that good, right?
I agree. So Matt is spending a ceremonial die to get an ally back. So most likely grabbing that Hammer Knight, but maybe he grabs Raptor Herder. He does grab the Hammer Knight.
Yeah.
Suffers a point of damage. This tells me that Matt's probably digging here pretty hard to try to get back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is a reason not to attack with your Hammer Knight when your opponent has Hammer Knight in the bin. But it's probably fine.
You still have just Lulu guard.
You just Lulu guard the Hammer Knight. I mean, you can't Lulu guard Hammer Knight a bunch of times against the burn deck, because you'll eventually die. But I think Lulu guarding it once here will be good if you have an additional thing to play that's good for your last 3 dice. Which
what could Bill play on those last 3?
He could play a Molten Gold. He could play a Phoenix Barrage.
Yeah, Phoenix Barrage looks really good here if you got Phoenix Barrage.
Matt may have the one of...
but seeing the charm down the Hammer Knight kind of tells you everything you need to know about Phoenix Barrage here.
He could play Raptor Herder.
So Bill's going to try to attack Salamander Monk into Hammer Knight, see if Matt wants to counter this.
This is like the most telegraphed Molten Gold you've ever seen in your life. So,
right. Yep. So Matt does counter, making the Monk's Spirit here.
Right, and wait, what happened?
No, the Monk Spirit hit the Hammer Knight.
No, Hammer Knight attacked Monk Spirit is what happened.
Oh.
Because then the Aftershock killed the
Spirit. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, wait. What is happening now? Oh, so he did frog his own thing? Is that... No, he Nature's Wrath. That's what it was.
Okay.
So he played Nature's Wrath.
And then canceled the natural dice power ability with a Golden Veil.
That's really good.
Yeah, so
this Hammer Knight's going to survive.
It was good. It also was good for Bill, though, if you're on Phoenix Barrage for next round, because you need this Golden Veil out of Matt's hand, right? Like, you have to have it out of the hand in order to...
No, this was the best. Like, this Golden Veil was better than Golden Veil on Phoenix Barrage next turn. Because this Hammer Knight's going to survive now, and he has top round attack.
Sure.
Like, you're right that canceling Phoenix Barrage is good, but saving this Hammer Knight when it was the math was perfect to kill it, like, and now it's full health because of Recover 2, it's really, really good.
All right, so Matt kicks us off here.
Matt's upset that he rolled Power Slide on Charm.
Just the one-up dice, hard rolling powers.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry. Because now he can't reliably play Sword of Virtue. There is only one Golden Veil. Does he know he has it? You just have it. Do you just put him on it?
Well, you kind of...
I don't remember it being revealed from anything, so...
I mean, if you really are that interested in it and don't care about your life total in terms of turning the corner here, you can take Bear and just attack and see if Hammer Knight blocks the Bear. If not, then Bill...
What difference does that make?
Well, that's what he's doing now. If the Hammer Knight does block Bear, then you get 2 damage on it and you have an Enter the Fray to try to kill the Hammer Knight, and if they GV the Enter the Fray, then you take no damage either. So it's kind of a win-win, but we just see Bill take the damage here because he's ahead in life.
Yeah. Yeah, that round 2 for Matt was really awkward.
So Matt plays Call Upon the Realms here again.
Ew. You never want to draw more than one of those, I don't think. Especially when you're only playing 2.
Does Lulu have the burn to close this round? Possibly, Inquisitor. It's very possible.
This Lulu is not... It has the 3 Phoenix Barrages, it has 2 Molten Golds. This isn't the same like kind of Lulu we saw on Tuesday. This is like a control deck. So
there's the Phoenix Barrage.
Which
was just...
Matt, having already played his single Golden Veil, just got by it.
Right.
Which you talked about, like, but it's not like he got really any worse than he would have last round, because at least he made him like spend his resources on this turn instead of last turn, kind of thing, you know? Because he would essentially be Phoenix Barraging this turn into Bear plus another thing.
To me, it feels like a mistake if you have your opponent on that to not attack the Lulu with your Hammer Knight and then just bait your opponent. Because even if you're sitting on Sword as the Odette player, you can always late round untap your Knight if you wanted to. So, like...
Yeah, it might have been a thing where, like, he's kind of back against the wall, so he just made the decision that, like, if he has the Phoenix Barrage, he gets me. If he doesn't have the Phoenix Barrage, this is my best line.
So there's the Sword. He did have the Sword here to remove all the wounds and exhaustion tokens from the Bear.
And he chooses to untap Bear again instead of going after the Knight because he's afraid of Golden Veil. Like, Matt must think that he first 5 Golden Veil and he's just had it in hand the whole game.
So this is going to be Hammer Knight attack, probably Bear for 4,
just
or just go face. Yeah. What do you do for Matt here? Do you just stand the Bear in front of this?
Well, this puts him at, what, 2 away? Oh, he's got a Crescendo.
Oh.
So yeah, this I assume that this
is probably
one of these last 2 cards is a 2 damage spell, so
this is probably going to be end of the line for Odette here. Yeah, because this is going to be
it's either Barrage or Molten. Those are the only things it can be.
Yep.
Can you play Phoenix Barrage into an empty board?
Yeah. You just do as much of the card as you can. So here's the Bear. So we'll see if Bill meditates into the Molten Gold for the win, or just plays 3 dice for a second Phoenix Barrage here.
It feels like he wouldn't have made that attack last turn. Or maybe he would have.
Does the spark to the Bear.
So he must not have it. He just wanted to get in the big attack and then have the spark to do so.
So Matt's going to take and put a couple points of damage on Bill here with this Bear attack.
Yeah. 2 swords down. Matt has to have an answer for the next Bear. I guess he has, because you can't enter the fray of the Bear anymore.
You can frog pink fester it if he's sitting on the fester.
He's got the 1 fester. And obviously a sword left over. Though if he has the Golden Veil, like, he needs to make a blocker, which I don't know that he can. I guess he has enough life he can ceremonial power for Raptor Herder, but Raptor Herder doesn't block Bear. He doesn't have enough ceremonial for Vamp or Hammer Knight and play it. So he has to kill this Bear, he's dead. So it has to be Fester or Sword, and then not a Golden Veil, because I don't think he has the ability to make a blocker for Bear.
Right.
I suppose the Generosity's gone, so he can't heal.
Matt's in the tank thinking it through here.
Yeah, I'm sure he will come to the conclusion of how this turn will come out by himself. So
obviously this was a very interesting match. Watching that, he did have the Sword. He's just gonna play Sword in and find out if Bill's got the Golden Veil here.
No, he untapped his own Bear.
Untaps his own Bear.
To guaranteed to have the blocker.
Yeah.
I think that's better.
Now if you're Matt, do you make Raptor Hatchling? Do you take the point of damage to make a Hatchling?
I mean, it depends on what his last couple cards are. Because he can enter the fray a 1/1. If he chooses it, if he thinks that's better.
So he's just gonna take the salamander monk down again?
No, this is oh, he's shrinking bear. Okay. I think that's good. Because otherwise we could see the charm magic on Matt's Frostback Bear and then the bear attack through.
Right. Bear could still attack through on that play. But it would just be, and it would still be GG's.
It'd just be for 1 though.
Well, but he's got 17 of it. Yeah. I guess because you block bear into salamander monk for sure at that point.
Right. It's not. He doesn't have a deterministic win as of what we can see right now.
So Matt does play out extra frostbite. Does help the Odette slightly, but it might be a little too late here.
Okay, so he shrinks the bear. Attacks with bear. No, nope, attacks with salamander, which has to get blocked.
I think Matt's going to definitely frog ping this spirit, right?
Or frostbite it, whichever he decides. I think frog ping is better, but he has the option to frostbite it if he has to.
Matt does go ahead and use a frostbite on the spirit. Matt will dig himself out of this round, but with Bill going first top around and a Hammer Knight and a Frostback Bear up, I think that's probably...
He's at 1. If he Molten Golds the Hammer Knight,
he might make it if he's got a Molten Gold here. He does meditate into it. And he does Molten Gold the Hammer Knight.
So he's not dead.
No. Now it's I mean, obviously Bill can draw one burn spell
well, he has this thing where if he frog pings bear and passes, then if he rolls a frog, he can win. Or if he can roll a frog or snake and win still.
There's the frog to win.
Both, because he can do either to get the bear through. Does he have redirect? No.
So the frog ping will be the nail in the coffin for Matt and end his tournament this season. Obviously, extremely well.
He's meditating.
What did I miss here?
I don't know.
Oh, he's just gonna burn face. he's just gonna gild him in gold. Just gonna gild him in gold. He didn't worry about anything else. And Matt's like, I drew the widows. Oh, the widows would have been so good here.
Yeah. So the widows is a reason that the straight burn to face is better.
Yep. Absolutely.
But the widows, he still had him past widows if he just used snake,
right?
Instead of frog. That was a cool game.
Yeah, it was very cool.
You know, it's funny that we thought that Lulu was going to be a big contender this season,
right?
And were there only 2 or were there 3?
I think there were 3 for the whole season.
Because a very large percentage of them made top 8 and are going into top 4.
Isn't it just?
Kamaxer had Lulu.
Who's the 2 top? There's only 1 Lulu in top 4, right?
Didn't JK win? Is it on Lulu?
Yeah. I didn't think is he on Lulu? My brain's not working. Yes, he is on Lulu. So we got 2 Lulus in top 4. Are we on our way, Neil, to a Lulu final, all Lulu final? Do you think?
I don't know.
I mean, Bill and Philly look like a strength on strength matchup here to me.
There's they're not paired in the first. They're not paired together, are they?
They're paired in the semifinals. Yeah.
Okay, so then no, we can't have a Lulu finals.
Well, JK and Kaya. JK is the other Lulu, and he plays. That's
what I just asked. Are they paired in the next round?
Oh, yeah. No, I thought you meant Philly and Bill paired together.
2 of the 3 Lulus made top 4.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are we on the way to an all Lulu final? The matchup between Philly and Bill, I think, is favored to Philly, just because he has more books than his opponent, and the Guilt Link is good, but I don't know. The JK Kyla matchup, who knows, right? Like the way we saw the Lulu deck play on Tuesday means that he has a shot at beating the Maoni, just by like doing what he did, going hard in the paint and then finishing him off with burn.
Right.
I don't think you can play the grindy game against the Maoni. So
no, I don't think so either. I think you just have to try to race that 20 health, which is a huge number to race. But
that was how many he raced on Tuesday, right? Didn't he play against?
He played against German. Kaya and German played.
Was it Xander?
Xander, yeah. And Lulu's a little.
JK is what I'm talking about.
Oh, JK played against Killer Cactus, who was on.
What was
Xander's.
Killer on?
I think he was on Xander as well.
No,
he was on Odette.
Oh, right. Okay, so he didn't have to quite get to 20, but he got to 18. Probably got to like 19. Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, it's going to be one of the weird Maoni races, right? Where like you just try to deal 20 before the snake kills you.
Right.
So, and in both games that we've watched Kyla play on stream, it's been 2 snake attacks to win.
Yep.
So can you deal 20 before 2 snake attacks? I think it's possible.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
I think one Lulu will make the finals. I don't know. The Philly matchup seems difficult for that Lulu deck, but we'll see.
Well, I think this Lulu deck started semi-unconventionally, right? Because of the matchup with Odette. I mean, it's very possible that
it would lose badly if it started like it did tonight. I'm saying if they go 4 books against 3 books and a Guilt Link kind of grindy matchup, that the Philly deck is favored.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. It very well may be, but you know, it's also possible that Bill just can set up through. I mean, the Spark bolster effect, right? The bolster effect from Lulu can change that math. Although Aradel, we know how good Aradel is against 3 life units.
Right. I was going to say, like, Spark makes your bear better against their bear, but Water Blast makes all your guys better than their guys. Right. Like,
I think we talked about this a little bit preseason, how Aradel might just edge out Lulu in that realm by about 5% or so.
So the argument was that the Water Blast is better against the O2s, the new guys that they've added, which don't exist in this matchup. Like, again, just like I was talking about Enter the Fray, against this Lulu deck, Water Blast is about, it's always great. It's not bad. I think it's about as bad as it gets because Bear doesn't die to it.
Mm-hmm.
You need Water Blast plus something else. Gilder, you don't care about. You got your value from the ping. And Salamander, you're still a half dice ahead. And so the 3 common units that are going to be in play are better against Water Blast. And Wade's is right here. He says Phoenix Bparousis is pretty sweet versus 2 life units and Aradel. The Phoenix Bparousis is going to be a big problem for Philly. But there's only 3 of them. It is a big dice investment. I don't know how many Golden Veils Philly has, if any. I will look. If he doesn't have any Golden Veils, then maybe the Phoenix Barrage pushes this matchup.
No Golden Veils in Philly's deck.
So maybe that's good enough. Maybe you just like use like first 5 of Phoenix Barrage, hope you draw a second one and win the game off that.
Yeah, I mean, Aradel's life pool at 16 against Lulu with the Phoenix Barage's Molten Golds.
Well, the 2 damage to face is not very important in this match.
No, but it doesn't hurt, right? Because you're talking about...
it's fine. Yeah. But it 2-for-1's the battlefield like every single time, especially in a matchup like this. So
yeah, it'll be really interesting to see, because I'm guessing that Philly may start a more traditional Mindfog, Frostback Bear, Gilder, and then Cobra or Thread Owl. I don't know which one, but
I think Mindfog looks particularly bad because of Phoenix Barrage.
Yeah, but I think you got to play your threats, right? Like, you still got to play your threats.
I mean, we saw him play threats just fine without the Mindfog. The difference being is that if he gets I wouldn't play Mindfog because I don't want a 2-dice unit that dies to half of Phoenix Barrage, because I'm giving up so much value. He's still going to want to play Phoenix Barrage on Three-Eyed or Cobra, but you're saving yourself a dice that way.
Sure.
So I think he won't play Mindfog.
I just think he might. I think he might be losing the race if you have 2 semi.
But how are you losing the race? There's no race. You are more aggressive than that Lulu deck. That Lulu deck has only 3 books. One of them is an O2 and one of them is a 1/1.
Sure.
And it's low on burn. It has the Phoenix Barrages, but it's not. It's like 3 Phoenix Barrages, 3 Moltens.
Sure.
Which is some, or 2 Moltens. I don't know. But it's not like the other, like, this is a grindy type matchup. It's going to be super grindy.
For sure. This is why we play the matches, though.
Right. The Phoenix Barrage will make it interesting. That's something I hadn't considered on my initial glance at it, but it might be super good. Like, if you just do 2 damage to a bear and kill a Cobra twice in the game, and that bear's dead to a Gilder, whatever other things going on, that you're just 2-for-1ing your opponent a lot.
Yeah.
I guess in that particular trade, you're not actually getting your dice worth on Phoenix Barrage, unless you count the 2 damage to face as a dice.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's a whole dice.
Well, it probably is when you consider things like Frostbite are 1 damage to face for a whole die. I mean,
yeah,
I think Phoenix Barrage is pretty appropriately costed when you think about what
the card's very, very good for sure. It kind of sucked when it was in old mode where it just did 4 to 1 thing, but now that you actually get to spread it out, it's really good.
Right.
And the 2 damage to face is not irrelevant. Especially in the 16v16 life matchup.
Right. I do think that it's interesting seeing these Lulu decks get a little bit more aggressive, right? Like we saw JK's Lulu be very, very aggressive in his matchup with Killer.
Well, yeah, that was aggression dialed up to 11, right? That was that was crazy.
It's just, because you look at these Phoenix Borns with 16 life, and to a certain extent you have to be aggressive, but then you also look at the four spell board and you think, oh well, I can set up this more control-y, grindy matchup with 4 spell board, and both of these decks are kind of able to do either one, to be honest. Although Bill's is a little bit more tame in its aggression compared to JK.
His is a hell of a lot grindier, and I think it shores up the matchup against the Xander type decks we've been seeing, right? Where Guilt Link is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But and Matt and German and a couple of people are discussing Lulu on the Discord here as well. 2 out of 3 Lulus make top 4. Something to think about. Going in, Carl was talking about how he thought he wanted to play Lulu, but then didn't want to play a bunch of mirror matches. I still don't buy into the don't play mirror matches thing. It doesn't really make sense to me, because it's not actually a mirror match unless you're playing all the same cards or mostly the same cards.
Inquisitor says, good games tonight, guys. So we for sure get a brand new Shufflebus champion this season. That's cool. Absolutely. We're seeing a new Shufflebus champion. In fact, I think outside of Bill and Philly, Kaya has not made top 4 before this, and JK is a rookie. So
I have to root for Philly kind of because I think he's deserved it for like 3 seasons.
He has certainly played his way.
Yeah, I mean, there's all 4 competitors and everyone in the top 8, are all playing at a very high level, and it's great to commentate. It's great to watch. I hope everybody's having a good time. But I have to root for Philly because the number of undefeated seasons he's had and not a championship is just insane to me. Like,
okay, so Philly is 17-4 before this season. He's going to end this season at 23-4. Think about that for a second. Like, let that sink in for just a second. 23-4 and not a champion.
Is anybody else even close to that record?
Like, Carl finish this season? 4-2.
I don't know.
I think he's 4-2. So he's going to be 21-6. Matt, we don't ever take into account the.
Are you counting top 8 games?
No, just Swiss.
Just Swiss games.
Yeah. Matt is 21-6. So Matt and Carl are even in Swiss record. I mean, Phil. Honestly, like 23-4 is. There's a big difference between. I mean, like I don't want to take anything away from 21-6. That's insane as well. But 23-4 is just wild. It is so hard to do that.
Like, and what's even crazier is like that number is already daunting. But has he had 3 undefeated Swiss seasons?
3 now. Yeah, 3 out of 5.
Out of 5? Like,
yeah. 3 out of 5. He has navigated the Swiss perfectly.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, that's just.
There's just zero reason this man should not be a champion, right? Like, and this may be the season. Maybe season 5 is hit, and maybe he's saving it all for the Invitational.
I think he's a little favored in the Lulu matchup he's about to play. It will hinge a lot on how many Phoenix Barrages are cast in the game. I think
what'll be interesting is I think he lost to Carl's Snake. He made finals against Carl in season 3 and lost to Carl's Snake, and he's on a very similar Aradel list to that, and Kaya's on a very similar list to Carl's.
Well, so I would say that, like, I'm not sure about his matchup against JK if he were to win and JK were to win. I'm not sure that his deck can match the aggression like we saw on Tuesday. Maybe it can. Maybe it can like grind it out. What we saw happen was like JK had set up for a start where if he goes Raptor Herder and his opponent goes Book, he just like pings his own thing, attack for 6 kind of start. And
hey,
I don't know that the Aradel can do that. But the matchup about Snake, I don't even know. Who knows, right? Like,
Snake is a tricky animal. The one thing that
I think Snake is usually favored in those matchups because it's so heavy on.
The difference is we haven't seen Snake against 3-Eyed Owl, right? Like, and not that matters a ton, but it can matter in that first 5, if it's done well, right? I mean, so Carl has talked about like 3-Eyed Owl and having an Essence Druid start. I don't know if Kaya has the Essence Druid.
He does.
Okay, so then Kaya,
his list is very, very similar to Carl's.
Yeah.
It has a couple different things because he has the time dice, but
the only thing that Kaya's list doesn't have that Carl's had was the gravity flux, right?
Which shouldn't be an issue. That's in there for decks that play.
Well, you got blood chains though from the air.
I guess
from the Aradel side, so it is possible that blood chains could slow the owl, the snake down enough, but. I mean, we're just purely speculating because obviously Philly has to get through Bill, and Bill is not going to be an easy pushover. We just saw.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch both of these games. They're going to be sweet, and then the finals, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
I just personally think that Philly deserves it. Like, I don't even know him that well. Like I've talked to him like 4 times ever.
Sure.
But he having 3 undefeated seasons and no championships, just like that feels dirty to me.
It's almost criminal, right? It's almost criminal at this point. And that's taking nothing away from Kaya or Bill, who have also ground their way into many top fours.
Anybody that is the winner here will deserve it. Like I said,
sure.
Everybody in the top 8 has a great deck. They played well the whole season. They played well in the top 8.
So if we were going to make odds, and I hope everybody is going to tune in for semifinals and finals, because that's when we're going to do all of the giveaway stuff. So you want to make sure you're tuned in on this one, but on these ones. But JK is a rookie. I mean, flat out. We don't know JK's like past play history, right? Whether he was
he's a Shufflebus rookie. He's obviously an experienced player.
Oh, for sure. You don't get to this point being an actual Ashes rookie. I think the only person I know that's the actual asset I think Cam's mentioning Phil here as the Swiss champ.
The Ashes tradition will continue where the new PB wins a tournament. Well, that didn't happen when Jericho was printed.
No, Jericho did not.
She's kind of dumpy, but
Blink's a real card. Jericho's sad. The interesting thing is, I think JK's got as much of a shot as any. If I was going to put betting odds on this, it's hard, man. Like I don't know. Can Snake survive a really aggressive Lulu that's got a ton of burn? Phoenix Barrage as a pressure point, Molten Golds as a pressure point, Festers as a pressure point. Like you can just overpower.
If you're asking me to actually bet, I would look at all of Kyla's matchups for the season and then decide if I think he can win. Because the other 3 decks are so similar, it's kind of hard.
Mm-hmm.
But the Snake deck is like the outlier, right? Like it's
so Kaya played in round 1, played Frisbee. Round 2, he played Squircle.
Hang on.
Squircle's a Xander. Squircle's a Xander because I played Squircle. So round 1, I don't know what Frisbee was.
I'm looking. So Frisbee was on 4-book Aradel.
Okay. Kaya won that. Kaya beat Squircle on Xander.
Okay. This was a Xander stuff. Okay.
Okay. Then Kaya played Bill. So Kaya and Bill have already played, and Bill won that match.
Okay. The Guilt Link being a lot better in that matchup, I think probably than like that. I bet that game played out a lot differently than the JK game is going to play out, but I don't know.
Then we've got Kaya played Carl and beat Creepers.
Okay.
Bill says, I have never played Guilt Link the whole season.
Oh, really?
All right.
What, Bill, what happened in your game against Kyla? And then he beat Matt Greenleaf, who's also on 4-book Aradel.
Yep, beat a 4-book Aradel and Matt Greenleaf. And then Kaya beat Ziziros. And that's his Xander.
The Xander we just saw.
Yep. So, man, I mean, like, Bill said I had to kill this Frostfang. Yeah, I think I think that's the error a lot of people make when they play against Maoni is they leave that ally around, and it's just too problematic to leave Frostfang around. And so if you can control the ally plays, the Snake has to slow grow, and it's a lot more grindy, and you have a lot more opportunities.
If I was a betting man, I think like if you're actually like put money on this today, I would put it on Kyla.
Okay.
I hope that it's Philly for the reasons I've already discussed, but I would bet on Kyla because
Philly and Bill are on a rematch, and Philly beat Bill in Swiss.
Okay.
So this is a rematch. This top 4 is a rematch from their round 6 of Swiss, where Philly got the win.
Okay, and the reason that I think that Kyla will.
Sorry, Bill.
I think that Kyle will have at least looking at the previous games, have a good matchup against whoever wins the Bill Philly matchup if he makes it to the finals, because he beat 2 Battlefield Xander decks and 3 4-book Aradels in the tournament. And I think that the Philly and Bill decks both are very much on that axis.
Yeah, it's wow. I mean, like, so I don't think, obviously Kaya and JK have not played yet, so that's a
the only outlier is that weird start we saw on Tuesday where he just kind of like goes crazy to face.
Yeah.
And
and we saw Bill's deck beat Kaya, so it's possible that Lulu's got enough answers to the snake here. I just don't know whether JK does in his version of it, but we'll see. I mean, it's going to be really interesting. But I think I tend to agree with you that if I was putting gambling odds on this right now, I'd probably put Kaya as
it's unfortunately kind of lame that that's just like the safe bet, because are you kidding me? Sorry, I'm mad. Leonard took on Dying Heart in our draft, and I thought for sure that I was going to get that on the way back. Like the worst card in the game that I swear, I after the draft is done, I'm going to talk about how bad I am at it and how it's the exact opposite of how you should draft every other game.
I thought I was going to get Blood Shaman, and Carl took it on the last round. I let it go by last round thinking I had another round to probably pick it up or would never get drafted. It didn't get drafted in the last draft at all, so I was like, oh, well, I'll grab it late here because why not? And
well, because it's not very good. I don't know.
Well,
isn't it an O2 that doesn't do anything?
Yeah, but I have a Ghostly Mount, so like it gave me a 1-die access point to Ghostly Mount. Is what but I was like not obviously wanting to take it with any priority. So my draft has fallen to pieces about 3 times.
Well, like I said, when the draft is over, I'll talk about my preconceptions of it and how absolutely wrong they were. And it has a lot to do with how the differences between Ashes and other games, because my drafting experience comes from other games. And I'm certain that I have played like 4 or 5 times as many games of draft in Magic as I have constructed.
Sure. So Inquisitor, this draft was 12 players set up by Carl. But we haven't announced our draft yet. We're working out the details on that. Once we get it all squared away, it'll be a qualifier for next year for Invitational. We'll probably do 1 or 2 of them for qualifiers next year as single day events, so that they're not drawn out like this. But that'll take some time. So just stay tuned on that.
It's been fun. It just, the way that it actually worked was weird to me. And as I got about halfway through, I realized like the fallacy of it and how essentially you should pick a synergy deck that you like something cheesy, and just hard draft it. Because the reason you don't do that in Magic or in Yu-Gi-Oh or in Versus is because you want to leave yourself open. You want to draft for consistency, because you don't have 5 demonic tutors at the beginning of the game. When you have 5 demonic tutors at the beginning of the game, and you could just pick your power, like if you could just 5 demonic tutors at the beginning of a Magic game, your draft would be way different. You just pick the best card to play at every turn.
Sure.
Just like you do in Ashes. So you should just pick like first pick Creepers, second pick Gilder or Guilt-Link or whatever, first pick Gilder, second pick Creepers, or like first pick Fallen, second pick Recollect. Those kind of things that are like the cheeky decks in Constructed that can't win because everybody has access to the answers. The other half of this being that in draft, only 1 player at a 12-player table actually has the answer to you.
In this version, right.
So
so Inquisitor, I think there's a way to make a real draft for Ashes, but it requires some software to create packs and pods, and so we'll see. We'll see what we can do there. But should we pick live? I got to make a pick. Might as well pick live. What the heck? Down the last two picks. It's not like
these picks are like not important at all.
No.
So you can pick live if you want, but I
part of me wants to. So I've got the small sack string mage combo. Cluse's Temple Elder. It's a card trademark.
It has been close to the top of my list for a while just because it's a 2/2 for 2.
Right. I thought about possibly dropping the Living Doll just because I could pivot over to small sack as a main action with the Awaken State to be able to do 2 damage a turn.
You can't awaken your own guy if that's what you're talking about.
No. But I have small sack, so I can awaken as a side action, main action, small sack into Living Doll, do 2 damage to the Phoenixborn.
Well, you can't Living Doll then if you awaken.
It's Living Doll. Yeah, you're right. Living Doll's a side action.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably bad.
The card is like...
Why isn't it just like suffer damage, do a point of damage? It's supposed to be a voodoo doll,
then
right?
it'd be real dumb.
Well,
like, then it would be too it'd be too easy to kill your opponent with it, I think.
If you suffer a point of damage from your own spell or effect, deal a point of damage.
Yeah, I mean the obvious combo with it already is does it not take damage then? I guess it's worse if it can't heal itself. I don't know.
Just a body with status tokens could be good in a pinch with flash. Yeah, I mean I don't have any access points to tokens, so like that part doesn't matter.
Right, the text on the Temple Elder is not why I was considering it. I just thought my deck might need a guy, and it's a 2/2 for 2 basics, right?
I wonder. I have so many books. I don't need any more books. That's the problem.
I wanted to take a Undying Heart specifically for a matchup where I would play like a stupid Rhino start.
How do you feel about Expand Energy and Auric for a first 5 card?
Not necessary.
But I mean, if you're digging,
it's only good when you empty your hand, which Auric doesn't do very effectively.
Not after first round, but in first round he does. Typically,
maybe.
You can't concentrate first, right? So you basically have to play out everything from your hand, then you have to expand energy, and then you can start your concentrates.
It feels like it's redundant to me. I mean, you can take it if you want. I'm not.
The other thought process was Dark Presence, but I can't remember. Does Dark Presence require activation dice? You have to.
No, it has a book tax.
It just has a book tax when you play it.
Yeah.
So Dark Presence is probably not terrible here in Auric. You can splash a single illusion die pretty easily. Plus, I have other things I can use illusion on. It gives me an opportunity to make terrifying units. Who wants to see a Steadfast Guardian that's terrified?
Doesn't that card not attack?
No, it's just got alert on it.
Oh.
Yeah. Should we do that, chat? What do y'all think? Should I take Dark Presence? What do y'all think? Wave says hell yeah. Waves is in for hell yeah. A little Dark Presence Auric.
I think it's fine. It's really good against some of my cards, but
10 power says not from my experience with it. Yeah. Well, but that's in constructed, right, Bill? Or have you played it in draft? I'm wondering if it's got a little bit of an opportunity in draft because I've got the Ghostly Mount, which allows me to make a 2/4.
Do you have a guy that's even good on it?
Well, I mean, you can Dark Presence the 2/4 unit guard Ghostly Mount. You can.
I guess it's okay on Squall Stallion.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're playing Squall Stallion, but
Cut the Strings feels really bad to me, Cam.
Well, yeah, you take it as a flex. You just have it in your pile to show that you didn't need as many cards as your opponent to play.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some untaps and Enlightenment and Refresh and Fleet Mage. I'm not as high on the Fleet Mage in this deck because of Oryx 5 Battlefield, and I don't have any good, like, kill stuff. But, I don't know. I mean, like, this deck is going to stand up, like, if I stand up a Steadfast and a 2/4 Ghostly Mount, like, it's going to stand up to a lot of things that don't have removal. And it's going to sit there for a while and allow me to get Awakened, which is the whole point of picking Auric, right? So Dark Presence just gives me the ability to take care of other threats and allow the Squall Stallions to get larger too, because now I have a reason to dump my hand out.
I mean, it doesn't seem particularly good. It's like a sideboard card against whatever person you're playing that week.
Right.
Like, these picks just don't matter very much.
No, I know, but that's why we're having fun with it right now. That's all I'm doing.
I think. All
right,
I think it's fine. Like,
we're gonna do it, chat. Dark Presence, it is. Locked in.
I almost took the
Waves is giving me the thumbs up. I appreciate that, Waves.
You should have taken the Law of Domination just to hate MBauers.
I probably should have.
I thought about it.
He's already No, he had a Law last season.
Well, he's definitely taking it now.
Yeah.
Like, we can probably just put it on the sheet for him. I can't believe he didn't take it last pick.
I
thought about taking Emperor Lion like halfway through the draft.
You know, a 3/3 for 3 is not terrible in draft format.
The 3/3 that kills something for 4 seems really good.
Which one's that?
Emperor Lion with Law of Domination in your deck.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it also has like Law of Fear was already gone, so that was kind of like why I didn't take it.
Right.
I guess Law of Grace has got. So what is it? He has Domination. If you take a Domination, his Emperor line would have just been a 3/3 because I don't think that Law of like getting Law of Sight is good enough because then you make a 3/3 for 5 that draws 2 cards. And what's the other one? Law of Assurance.
Yeah.
That's a dice fixing one. Blah.
Yeah, that one's bad. Sorry, Nick, if you're still watching. That one's bad.
It used to be really good, right? Like, because it stopped you from bringing dice back.
Sure.
And that was like 1.0 stuff that you did. I assume it was good anyway.
JK is already testing. It looks like. Maybe.
Well.
All right, so... Yeah, you know, I mean, like, that was fun. I just thought I had a pick. Might as well do the pick live. What the heck?
I can't believe you took Undying Heart. Like, that's like not even a card, right? I thought for sure I was going to get that as like my last pick.
You know, I was eyeballing it for a while to put on my String Mage. I was eyeballing
Why is it good on your String Mage?
Because if my opponent actually kills the String Mage, it bounces it back to my hand. I can replay the Mage and keep moving. Ugh. It gives the Mage an extra point of health.
I wanted it to put on Rhino just so that, like, for the dream that the Rhino would recover. Obviously, like, Root Armor was gone already. And I don't think I'm going to play Rhino in many of the matchups, but...
Well, it doesn't do anything on a Rhino, right?
It gives it 1 life and 1 recover.
Sure.
The reason that the Knights are so much better than the 3 dice summons is that they have recover too.
Sure.
So, like, and I swear Leonard is just out to get me because he took Gorn Rock like also the pick before I was going to take it. I should have just first picked Gorn Rock. I actually thought about it because for the same reason, like, it's like a build around me that's extremely powerful, and you only have to worry about like the person playing Jessa, the person playing Odette, and whoever has the Fester.
Right.
Essentially.
Who has Jessa?
So, I don't know. Somebody took her in like round 5, I think, ish. But My plan was to take the Odette.
Yeah, Kaya.
And then I wanted to take the Odette first so that nobody could take Odette and have Sword of Virtue against my Gornrock.
Mm-hmm.
And then take Gornrock, but of course it didn't come back.
Yeah, we're gonna find out if Warwick's any good in draft. I think he's probably okay. I don't know if the rest of the pile of cards around me is any good, but
Auric feels like a Phoenix one that is not good in draft, just because like you've
got a built-in win con.
Right, but the built-in win con works when your other, like in round 1 your other 9 dice, in round 2 your other 8 dice are extremely efficient, and you just can't guarantee that in draft.
No, I agree with that. We're gonna find out about that.
And it's not all bad because your opponent's dice also are not as efficient as they are in constructed, so maybe there's not as big a gap there as I think there is, but it feels like, you know, they're in 2 of the rounds you're going to be playing on 3 concentrates. Like usually you're going to be playing on 3 concentrates and 7 dice to compete with your opponent. So if your stuff isn't extremely efficient, then you just don't, right? Like it's very hard. But maybe
I don't think anybody's that efficient though in draft. I mean, honestly,
right. I mean, there will be people that aren't for sure, but like there will also be decks that just like have a Frostback Bear. Well, one deck has a Ceresaurus, like those kind of cards that are very efficient and are a book. When like that's where the efficiency is gonna grind you out, when it's like a book that's efficient.
Well, that's where I'm really like secret sauce here. Is I'm like looking at Master Vampire and String Mage side by side as 5 dice in round 1, but the ability for the Vampire to take a little bit of damage on attack and then let the String Mage suck it all off and put more damage out on the board, like that's trying to create dice efficiency. The
String Mage small sacrifice start is cool.
It's just trying to create dice advantage in weird ways because I don't have super efficient units across the board. So you know, and I think outside of those decks that have Fear and those decks that have Sword of Virtue and those decks that have Fester, I'm in a pretty good place.
Yeah, the String Mage is more vulnerable than the Vampire because you have to worry about like Crescendo or just like random pings, kind of. Like single pings aren't good against it, I guess, but
that's the reason I wanted the Undying Heart on the String Mage. But didn't get there. I waited a long time thinking it was going to make it around and around and around. And nobody would take it, and I should have known better. But it's also not
the card is essentially unplayable. Like maybe like I would only put it. I only wanted it for like whatever time I would maybe side in Rhino. That would not be a main deck card for me.
Yeah,
it'd just be like a flex based on my opponent.
Well, anyways, I guess I was hoping we'd get an answer tonight, but I don't think we're going to on Kaya and JK's match for tomorrow and whether or not that's going to happen. So I'm going to just tell everybody, watch the Discord. I'll let you all know tomorrow once I've heard from them. And then
if they need to play at a weird time, I can probably commentate it at a weird time.
Okay.
If it's like during the day sometime, Friday or Saturday, I won't be able to on Sunday.
Yeah, he's leaving on Saturday, so he's going to have to play it tomorrow or we're not going to get the semifinals done before.
Is he coming back? Like,
I don't know when
the finals going to get done.
I don't know when he's coming
if
back.
He wins.
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. So
okay.
I don't have your answer for that one right now. I assume that they will be back before Thanksgiving. That's what I'm assuming. He'll be back in the saddle before then. So record and replay it and do it live. Yeah. The issue is whether or not Kaya can play that match. And we don't know right now. So we'll just have to wait and see. Philly and Bill, I'm hoping you guys can find a time this weekend where I can just jump on again. And if we can't commentate it, I will record it and then we'll run it back that way. But
Cam, the problem is that we only have one more scheduled stream
right before Thanksgiving. Right.
So
we're trying to get to the final by Tuesday of next week is what we're trying to do. So there will be probably 1, maybe 2 pop-up streams this weekend. Just an FYI. Thanksgiving was a month ago for Cam. Yeah,
that's what I was talking about on Tuesday. Sorry, Cam, you're gonna have to have a lonely Thursday night next week.
And the reason being is because I'm pretty sure on my calendar, I'm not.
Everybody remember to wish Cam a happy birthday next week.
Yes,
or happy birthday. No, happy Thanksgiving. Yeah. I'm an idiot.
It could be his birthday.
Unless it's actually your birthday, then you can wish you happy birthday. But I don't know your birthday.
So we leave on Thanksgiving, and then I come back. When do we fly back? I fly back Tuesday the 30th, but I don't get in until like 8:20 that night. So the 30th stream, Neil, you are going to be solo on that one.
All right. We'll figure something out. Who wants to come do something stupid on stream a week from Tuesday with me? So I'm sure somebody will say something.
Okay.
Sleeping Bear. MBauers took Sleeping Bear instead of Law of Domination. I'm gonna snipe him for being greedy with the Law of Domination.
He's got he's got all the untaps, dude. Like all of them.
I think Sleeping Bear is actually good in draft.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like you just put it into play.
4/4, recover 2 for 2. Yeah.
And you don't try to untap it. You just put it into play. Unless you're like on Sembali or something. Something where like you have to put no work into doing the untap. Like I guess Sembali only is the only time I try to untap it. I would just put a 4/4 into play for 2. If my opponent commits 2 attacks into it, fine. If they don't, then I get a 4/4, right? Like it's just
so yeah, I mean I think Sleeping Bear is fine. I just wasn't in nature. In this whole draft I stayed out of nature because I just knew everybody's going to be competing for the nature cards. Look, Cam, I honestly like
blink Sleeping Bear for the flex. Has to be the worst thing to blink in the game, right?
Because it comes back into play exhausted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a part of me that like almost.
Is there something that like damages you or makes you discard a card?
I don't know.
When you play it, I'm trying to think of something worse to blink than Bear, but I can't.
There's almost a part of me that almost took Jericho here, but
I think that Jericho is fine as like a second PB down the list. Like,
yeah, I'm sure somebody else.
There are enough good PBs that are like better tier PBs that I don't think she like goes as your first one. But Blink is powerful. Like if you like took a River Scald in round 1 or 2, picking Jericho isn't crazy.
No, I just don't have. I don't have good ETB.
Right,
allies.
You would want to have. You would
like Hollow's my best ETB.
One of the good knights to untap, or Huntmaster, or Scald, or something like that.
Blink the Cricket. What would blinking the Cricket do? I don't think that does anything, does it?
It's when it dies, it does stuff. Is it leaves play or is it destroyed? I think it's destroyed and it doesn't work.
When this unit is destroyed, change 1 die, and then when this unit is destroyed, you may target an opponent, choose a card in their discard pile, place the chosen card into their owner's hand.
Yeah.
So it's destroyed.
I got sniped on Cricket too. But I thought I should have just taken Cricket higher. I think that is actually really good in draft.
It's probably pretty good.
Just like it's on the list of books that are activatable, so
yeah. I would imagine Creepers are probably pretty good in draft too.
Well, that's what I was saying. Creepers has to be insane. Like the heavy power synergy decks that only certain cards are good against, that's what you should be trying to draft, I think.
Well, you could probably draft Gilder. If you could pick Gilder in round 1 and then grab Maoni in round 2, you probably just have you probably got a deck set up right there, right? Like,
Yeah, I don't think you need to take Maioni in round 2 though. Like Maioni went to like round 7 or something when I took her.
Oh, you took her?
Yeah.
Got it. It was round 8.
If you're planning on Maioni, the kind of thing you would want to take is like Guild or Guilt Link
to
start, I think.
And Gilder's, you probably, as long as you're on the front half of the draft, you could probably set that up.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that instead of trying to keep yourself open, like in Magic Draft, I'm much happier to pick a card like Ponder as my first pick than a card like Grave Titan. Like I don't need a win condition in Magic because there's lots of cards that are win conditions. Mm-hmm. What I want is like small efficient stuff that keeps me open so my future picks are good and like makes my deck better. But since Ashes doesn't work that way, where like you don't really have to worry about the distribution of good cards in your pile, you should just take like these like niche powerful strategies early and just not worry about it, because like once you take Fallen, a bunch of the cards that are good for you, nobody else is going to want to take anyway.
Sure.
Because it's only good in the Fallen deck. Like Creepers has some stuff that overlaps. Like Gilder is really important to a lot of these synergy decks. So like being early in the draft to take Gilder is important, but you can still just like, I don't know, just like take an early Koji. I mean, you can probably just count on Koji late, honestly, because nobody but Creepers is going to want the Koji.
Yeah, I mean, Koji's got some strange synergies because I play Koji obviously in Carousel, right? And it's interesting what you can do with Koji in time. Like, there's a lot of value in just like building a time deck in draft and then grabbing Koji late because nobody's going to take him outside of potential Creepers.
If you're just on like singleton counter strategies, you should take Lulu over Koji.
Well, sure.
Which is exactly what we saw happen because Charlotte took Lulu very early, which this Lulu is another card I think should be picked very early, and I hadn't thought about it at the time because only one person has Golden Veil and only one person has Fate Reflection, and even Fate Reflection isn't that good against Phoenix Barrage, so your Phoenix Barrage are always insane.
Yeah, I mean obviously like Lulu, she's got a Lulu with Mirror Spirits and Ember Root. That's pretty solid.
Right, and that was what I was saying is like you take the Lulu early because Phoenix Barrage is so good since only one person has a Golden Veil, and then all of a sudden nobody really wants to take Ember Root. Nobody really wants to take, like she essentially got every status counter synergy card in the draft. If you look at her draft, they're like all there.
Very good.
So like that's an example of what I'm talking about, where like you just what they call it in what we called it anyway in our rotisserie Magic draft was planting a flag. You just like this is what I'm drafting. Sure. And a lot of times like you can get hated out of it in Magic draft because you're not guaranteed to draw the good cards, but in Ashes you are, so nobody can really hate you out of it. Like, right. And in a 12-person draft as opposed to an 8-person draft, which most other games have 8 people drafts, based on the number of cards in a package, because they're like random pack drafts. Hate drafting is even worse in a 12-person draft because hate drafting, and I think in general, people hate draft too much in all games because they hear that it's a strategy, and it is a strategy. Like there are times when like I don't know if everybody in chat is a Magic guru and knows what Time Vault does, but like this is just an example. Like if there's a 2-card combo that wins you the game, like Time Vault will take key. If somebody at the table takes Time Vault, then yes, I want to take Voltaic Key as a hate draft because I don't want to give one person at the table a ton of free wins on an extremely powerful 2-card combo that's very robust and very cheap and easy.
Sure.
But using the Lulu as an example, I don't want to hate draft Ember Root because just having Lulu and Ember Root together doesn't win the game, right? It's good. No. It has synergy, but you're just kind of like hamstringing yourself to make your opponent's deck a little worse. And then there's 10 other people at the table that are benefiting from that. And you're not one of them.
Sure.
Because you've weakened your draft and one other person's, and then 10 people are happy. That's not you. And so I think hate drafting is not very good. But I think that that's just another reason why I think that you should just plant a flag, like just take a Gorn Rock immediately and build around it, or take Fallen immediately and build around it, that kind of stuff in draft. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't have to literally take it in round one. Round one can go kind of like our round one went, where all the reasonable books go and the knights, because they're essentially good in everything.
Mm-hmm.
But after round two of this draft, we were already taking cards that aren't good in everything.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's that early that they stop being good at everything, you should just plant your flag, take your cards with synergy, and run with it, I think.
That's interesting. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, obviously, I did extremely well with Odette last season, but I had stock, which was very powerful as a ability, because not everybody has removal. So stock gives you access to removal. And then I had a lot of burn. I was able to pick up Molten Gold and Frostbite in that. Cam,
I think that would, like, that's just going to go the way that you think it's going to go, where if we would need 120 dice divided by however many colors there are, you just see like first round, everybody takes a nature. Second round, everybody takes a nature until the nature are gone. And then they start diversifying. And I don't think that would be very fun.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. All right. Well, Neil, we made it to 8:30. We had all of our top 8 action get done real quick this season, so no sloggy matches that we saw in season 4, which is awesome. We are going to be...
That's true. They were quick.
Almost dropped after the match. Glad I stuck around. Good draft discussion. Thanks for that.
I think your deck's really good, by the way.
It looks extremely good. It looks extremely good. So, I mean, if I was picking odds-on favorites here for potential decks that could do powerful things, I think Shannon and your list look extremely strong. I do think Carl's list is coming together, but I'm not sure. I don't know which way he's going to go with it, because he's got a lot of random stuff in there too. And I do think that Kalkamile having both Fester and Ice Trap in their lists looks extremely good also. I think that those are, and Fall and Strengthen can't be bad in this format, especially with James.
You see how early the Fallen went. I think that was a good strategy.
Yeah.
And I kind of like cheesed him out of the Recollect. And that was like half hate draft, half like I don't know what the hell I'm doing with my life pick. I have the Captivate and the Majestic Titan, so it does something, but it's not great.
Well, from here it's just after this, you have to figure out what to do with this pile of cards to actually make it work.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know who you're playing before you build your deck, or you build your deck before?
You don't register anything, so you'll get your pairing and then you can build a deck. But I generally didn't put that much effort into like building decks for each opponent. I just like tried to put together the best 30 I could with my cards from last season and just
I remember, because we put a bunch of Archosauruses in your pile and it turned out to be good, because for the same reason that I think Gorn Rock is a bomb.
Yeah. I think bombs and draft are very playable. So and extremely good, because they just suck so much dice. I mean, they just do. So all right, well let's wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. It's been a super fun night. Top 4 streams incoming. We'll have our giveaways, all that stuff.
Discord for the games over the weekend.
I got
them on stream.
We have so much to give away, dude. Like so much to give away. Like it's gonna be wild. So maybe we'll do the giveaways before the finals. Should we do that?
I think we should do them on Tuesday.
All right,
whether it's before or after.
We'll do all of the giveaways on Tuesday. There is a pin post in the Discord on Shufflebus channel if you haven't voted yet. I'm going to close that down on Monday. Basically, it's just voting for the community member who you think was the most supportive or had the best deck idea or whatever arbitrary decision you want for a community member. But that vote, whoever wins that vote will get a set of the translucent dice. So I will send them a set of translucent dice. We will still draw for the second set of translucent dice from all the competitors and using all of their raffle entries for those that were featured on stream this season. So that will be there. Obviously, the Myth Spirit alt arts, the Rin alt art, the Ashes playmat, and then the dice and Phoenixborn tray made by Wayne Salter from Etsy. So
that's cool.
I think that's everything. I'm not...
Playmat? Did you say playmat?
I did say playmat.
Okay.
Did I forget anything here?
The only thing that I must have missed the playmat, but I heard everything else. I
think that's it. I think that's all the prizes. So we will draw all of those prizes Tuesday, probably pre-final. We'll kind of take a look at the timelines that people need to play the final and make a determination. If not, we'll do it post-final. Somewhere on Tuesday, we will draw all of these into the show, and I'm looking forward to seeing who all pulls out the wins. So excited to see top four and how it breaks down and get a season finale. And then just mark your calendars for January 8th. That is the Invitational. I know some of the players aren't going to be able to participate in the Invitational. I'm sad to hear that, but unfortunately, I don't really have any way around it at this point. We had to move it because of PAX, and that's where we're at. Yeah. So we're going to move forward with it, and we'll have a great competition regardless of who can and can't show, and then we'll be back almost right away after that with the winter invite.
The beginning of
Shufflebus winter. Yeah, Shufflebus
whatever you're
winter invitational. That we're getting away from the season numbers because I realize that my graphics aren't going to work so great after we get to like 10 and 11. Like it starts to not work as well. So I was like, we'll just go with the Winter Invitational 2022 Winter Invitational, and then we'll have a spring, summer, and fall, and then we'll have a few other surprises in there as well. It'll all be better year two of the, I don't know what Cam was completing there, but we're tournament series. Yeah, I mean we're I will lay the calendar out here shortly. So here's what's going to happen for year two. Winter qualifier, Matt, is the first qualifying event out of four.
It's gonna be season 6, and there'll only be 4 seasons next year. So we're titling them by this, like the season of the year rather than the number.
Right.
But it's the same thing as this.
It's the same thing as this. No changes in the format. Those will all be the same. We will have some closed deck single day events next year. So I know everybody's chomping at the bit for that, or champing at the bit. Champing at the bit for that.
Champing at the bit to be the champ.
So we will have some closed deck formats there. It's a qualifier, right? So there is an invitational in January, Matt. That's for this year, for all of the people that qualified this year. And then we'll have a new qualifier season starting up for the 2022 year. So, but we'll lay out all of the details on the start and stop times of the invitationals, along with the the qualifiers and the invitational for 2022, so you can mark your calendars and be prepared. I'm going to do my best to try to get this set up in a way where the qualifier or the invitational is not on PAX weekend next year. We just thought we were going to be safe this year because Plaid hadn't announced anything, and then they did. So
right, and then they announced something like literally 2 days after we sent our
Yep. So just know that that's a thing, and you'll have a good idea of when that event's going to be. We're also going to lay out exactly what that event will look like in terms of format for next year, and all of that. So there's lots of information coming about competitive Ashes for 2022 in the next few weeks. We will have a few streams in December, but ultimately after December 11th, that Saturday that we were going to have the invitational, that was going to be our end point for the 2021 year, and we were going to take the remainder of the year off because I think, we're going to hit 70 weeks straight, I think is where we're at now, which is great, but also exhausting. So we just need a little bit of a break here. Let us decompress and get ready for a new season, which we'll be super excited about. So, all right. I think that covers everything. So thank you to everybody that stayed and chatted with us post games. Obviously, we intended to block this whole hour, 2 hours off for games, but didn't need them tonight. So, Waves, no. We're not the champions. You're the champion, buddy. That's all there is to it. You are the people's champ at heart. So, all right. We'll see y'all Tuesday or sooner, depending on what happens with these semifinals. So stay tuned to the Discord. Watch that channel. We'll let you know when we know what's going on there, and I'll put the stream schedule up as soon as I can. So, all right, everybody. Good night. Thank you so much. Take care.